Greetings. Welcome to this presentation on how to register to vote in Georgia, presented by the Social Action Committee of the East Point College Park Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Let's first start off with a video on the history of voting in the United States.
Hello, I'm Perez Hilton. Did you know that more people in the United States check their Facebook and watch the Super Bowl than exercise their right to vote? We've got some serious issues to deal with. So how come so many of us don't even bother to vote? Is it because we don't care? Or maybe it's because we don't know our history. So let's go back, way back. Our country's first election came after fighting for our independence, a fight that cost many lives, but it was worth it because instead of being ruled by a king, we were finally able to make our own laws. But not everybody was allowed to participate. You see, back then, you had to own property, be white, and a man in order to actually vote. Now, things continued that way for about 80 years, until after the Civil War, when slavery was abolished and all men were given the right to vote.
Now, hold up a minute. Just because we had the right to vote didn't mean we could use it. See, all these new voters wanted to participate, which threatened the people in power and their ability to stay in power. So they tried to stop us with violence and shady new requirements like literacy tests and poll taxes. We had to fight for nearly 100 years before the Voting Rights Act passed, which finally outlawed these dirty tricks.
And you weren't the only ones that had to fight for your right to vote. Somehow women got left out and had to organize and fight state by state, until we took our fight to Washington and finally got our right to vote all across the country. And even once the laws guaranteed every person the ability to vote, you still had to be 21 in most states. So when our government began drafting people under 21 to go fight in Vietnam, they realized their lives were at stake and they had no say. Young people all across the country rose up in protest and demanded that everyone over 18 should be allowed to vote.
And since then, young people's votes have been crucial in deciding lots of big elections. Like in 2008, when a black candidate had a real chance to become president, young people showed up in record numbers. Every year, we make up a larger share of the voting population, giving young people more power, but only if we participate.
So let me break it down. Together, there is so much we can decide, like whether or not we should go to war, or how we spend our money, and how we power our lives.
We can determine who has the right to marry, and who has the right to choose, what possessions should be outlawed, and whether or not we should legalize.
It's up to you to make your choices and shape our future. If we sit on the sidelines, then others will make it work for them instead of us. So let's make our voices heard.
So what would it take for you to vote?
So as the video shared, you have the power to use your voice to make choices that shape your future. So how do you register to vote? You can register to vote online, by mail, or in person. To register to vote, you must complete a State of Georgia application for voter registration. You can register if you are not currently registered to vote, or if you have recently moved or changed your name. You can submit the application form online, by mail, or in person. Once you're registered to vote, you can vote in the local elections, the state elections, and the federal elections. The deadline to register to vote in the November general elections is Monday, October 5th. To register online, eligible voters can vote with the Secretary of State. To use the online vote registration system, you must have a valid Georgia driver's license or ID card. Registering by mail. The mail-in Georgia voter registration application is available online and at many locations throughout your county. You can download and complete the State of Georgia application for voter registration, or you can get a copy of the application from several places: your County Board of Registrar's office, the public library, public assistance offices, colleges and universities, and other government offices. Mail the application to the address on the form. You should receive your voter registration card by mail within 4 weeks. If you have not received your card after 4 weeks, please contact your Board of Registrar. And lastly, in person. You can register to vote in person with the Georgia Department of Driver Services when you apply for your Georgia driver's license or when you renew your Georgia driver's license. Again, you should receive your voter registration card by mail within 4 weeks. If you have not received your card after 4 weeks, please contact your Board of Registrar. Remember that the deadline to register to vote in the November general election is Monday, October 5th. There are several ways to vote. Vote early in person, vote by mail, or vote at the polls on Election Day. The general election day is Tuesday, November 3rd. Here are some important election dates I want you to be aware of. The general election voter registration deadline is Monday, October 5th. Advanced or early voting in Georgia is from October 12th through October 30th. Mandatory Saturday voting is October 24th. If you wish to vote via an absentee ballot, you must submit your absentee ballot application and has to be received by the county registrar's office no later than 4 p.m. on Friday, October 30th. And general election day is Tuesday, November 3rd. The 2020 U.S. general election will be held on November 3rd, and you have the power to re-elect or elect the next President of the United States, all 435 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives, 35 of the 100 seats in the U.S. Senate, and you can vote on state and local issues that will be on the ballot. To register to vote, visit Georgia's My Voter page. After you've registered to vote, you can also log on to this website to check your voter registration status, verify your polling locations, and pull up sample ballots. If you scan this QR code now, it will take you directly to Georgia's My Voter page website, where you can download a voter registration application. Remember, to use the online voter registration system, you must have a valid Georgia driver's license or ID card. If you're voting in person in Georgia, you're required to show a current photo ID. Some acceptable IDs include a Georgia driver's license, which can be expired, a valid employee photo ID issued by any entity of the U.S. government or any county or entity of the state, a valid U.S. passport, a valid U.S. military ID with a photo, a valid tribal ID with a photo, or any valid photo ID issued by the state or federal government. This does include free voter ID cards. You can request a free voter identification card if you don't possess any one of the accepted forms of ID just shared. You can get one of these cards at any County Board of Registrar office or from your local Georgia Department of Driver Services. To obtain a voter identification card, you'll need to show a photo ID document. If you don't have one, you can show an approved document that doesn't have a photo but has your full legal name and birth date. Proof of your date of birth, proof that you are currently a registered voter, or documentation that provides your name and residential address. For questions or for help getting a voter identification card, contact your County Board of Registrar office or the Secretary of State Elections Division by phone or by fax. Register to vote and vote in the November 3rd general election. If you have any questions on the information provided in this presentation, or for more information on the East Point College Park chapter, please contact the Social Action Chairs at socialaction@epcpdst.org. Follow us on social media as well to stay in the know with chapter events. Thank you so much for your attention.